This is the game that we are going to be building today. We will be moving around the maze and collecting all the food. So let's have a look at what we need to do that. I've got a flowchart here, so we're going to, at the beginning, we're going to start with our title and instructions, which you saw, so that people know how to play the game. And then the player will move around the maze and they will be eating and they'll be deciding what they eat. If the food that they eat is unhealthy, it's going to reduce their score, and then we'll check, are they at the center of the maze? If they are, the game will come to an end. If it's not, we will continue to eat food. When they eat healthy food, that will increase their score, and we will continue around until we get to the center of our maze, when the game will end. Let's have a look how we go about building this game. So here we are at the beginning of the Scratch environment. First thing we're going to do is we are going to kill the cat by simply clicking over here on the trash icon, and we now have no sprites at all. We're going to need to get some sprites. I have already put some sprites on the server if you're doing this at school. Otherwise you can look in the comments and download them from a Google file. So to find my sprites, I'm going to come to here to choose a sprite, and I'm going to download a sprite. So to do that, I'm going to go into my practice. Now I've got my main sprite, which is the mouth. So I'm going to open it, and in it comes. I've already put some code on that sprite to animate it for you. You can see it's a forever loop, and it just changes to the next costume with a little bit of a wait so that it doesn't look like it's going too mad. We're also going to need to download the resources of the food. So if we come in here, open the food folder, we can click on the top one, scroll to the bottom, hold down Shift to select all of them, and we can paste them all in. Now they've just all dropped in everywhere for the moment. That's fine. We'll resize and place them in a moment. The other thing we need in our game is a background. So similar to the sprites, background just next door, and we're going to download the sprite, the background, which will be in the backgrounds folder, and we want the practice maze background, which is pretty simple, and there it is. So we now have our background in. We've got a bunch of our foods here which are in our way, so we might just move them for the moment. Just click and drag them all out of the way so that they're not going to be in the way, because we will work with those later. Right now, the only sprite we're really interested in is the main sprite, the mouth. So we might move it up here to where we can work with it. You can see over here there are 4 different costumes, so that it will animate through and look like it is chomping. So to add some code to this sprite, we're going to click on this sprite, and we're going to come up to the top and click on code. We currently have a bit of code in here for that, which is making the mouth open and close as it flicks through the costumes. What we need to be able to do is drive our sprite around. So we need to begin with a event when the flag is clicked, and what we are going to do is we are going to build our directions for that. To move around, we need to be looking if a particular button is being pressed. So we are going to begin with the control of if then. So if, I'm going to use the arrows. So if the up arrow is being pushed, we want to move up. So I will need to come in here to the sensing, because we're sensing if something's happening, and we are looking for a key press. So if key, in this case it's got space, but we want to change that to up arrow. If the up arrow is being pressed, we want to change the location. So let's go to motion. We want to change, up is on the y-axis, so we want to change our y-axis by 5. It's a positive 5 because up is on the positive part of our graph. We now need to do our down, which is going to be exactly like this, except it'll be a down arrow, but to move down will be a -5 on the Cartesian plane. So we're just going to right click and duplicate, change this to down arrow, and click in here and make that a -5. So we now have up and down. So what we should do is just check that is going to work. So I'm just going to click over here and I'm going to press down. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Wonder why that would be. Oh, I haven't got it connected. Now the other problem we have here is it's only checking this once. So we do need to put in a control of forever. So we want to forever be checking, is this happening? Now when we click on our flag and I press the down arrow, I move down and up on the up arrow. Currently, my left and right arrows are doing nothing. So we need to stop that and we want to add another block. This time it's not going to be the down arrow. This time we want to make it the moving to the right. Now, moving to the right is not changing Y, but it's changing the X axis. So let's go to our motion blocks. Let's find our change X, and going to the right is a positive number. So we'll change X by 5. Again, we'll duplicate. And this time we're going to go to the left and we will change by -5 to see how we're moving. Now we should be able to check how we're going. So we've got up and down, that's working beautifully. And I also have left and right working. So we have currently managed to make our sprite move around. The problem I have is I can move through the maze, so there's not much point in having a maze if I can move through it. So let's add some code to stop us being able to just run right through the maze. To do that, we will begin again with an event with the flag, and again we need to be checking this forever. So we'll bring out our forever loop. What is it we want to check? We want to check if we're touching the black lines. So we're going to be going to sensing again. Oh, before I do, I best bring out my if. Now we're going to be going sensing if I'm touching a particular color. If I'm touching, now it randomly chooses a color to put in here. So to choose the color we want, we need to come up here to this actual color and we're going to click on it, and down the bottom here we can click on the color picker and we can come over here, and you'll notice when we're right on the black, the ring around the outside turns black. So that's the color we're looking for. We don't want white, we don't want gray, we want spot on black. So we've now got it set to black. So if I'm touching the black, what do I want to do? I want to make my sprite bounce off there. Now we can't use bounce, so we're going to have to come back to motions and we're going to change the movement by 5 steps. Whichever way we happen to be going, it's going to move 5 steps, and we can pop that in there. Now let's see how that works. So if I come along here and I crash, it won't let me go through. but I was going to have a timing function. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my sprite in my starting spot, and I'm going to make it go there. So I'm going to make it go back to that spot. Currently, if you look over here, it tells you that my X and Y, my X is 5, my Y is 138, and it automatically puts those in for where the position is. So that's why I like to put my sprite where I want it to go to, and I don't have to type in here. So it's going to automatically force me back here. This will slow me down, so I'll need to be a bit more careful. I like that idea. So I can try that now. Every time I crash, I should get sent back to the same spot, which is exactly what's happening. Awesome. What I should also do is force the game to start in that position. So I'm going to put that go to block above the forever loop so that it's not forever making us go to that spot. It'll only send us to that spot at the beginning of the game and if we hit the wall. So I think we have now managed to create the bits of code that allow our main sprite to move around and not move through walls. So that means the next thing that we have to do in our game is put these sprites out in a particular order. So we want to move them around to where they want to be. You might have noticed that my code disappeared. It's because I've changed the sprite that I'm working on. So as I change the sprite, the code will move away with it. This is too big, so how do I resize this? It's currently at size 20. I think half that size would be plenty, so let's make it. Oh dear, I've just made my mouth small. I'm on the wrong sprite. How can I fix that? Well, I guess I just go back to what it was, which was 20. And this time I'll make sure I am on the correct sprite. It's 100. I'll make it 50. Have a look at that. That looks pretty good, and I can position it somewhere there. That one's pretty good. The lettuce a bit big again. This one I might make 75 and we'll see how that looks. Yeah, maybe 70. So what I want you to do is just resize all of these so that they're all about the same sort of size, so that they look very similar within the game. Alright, so I'll let you take the time to do that and I'll get back to you when I've managed to do that also. Now that I've managed to get them all roughly about the same size, I need to organise them so that it's possible for the person playing the game to get to the centre by only eating good food, but still make them have to think about how they do that. So I'm going to begin with my finish. I think I'll finish with a nice piece of fish in the middle as a good finish, and maybe some donuts as a not so healthy finish. If I go to there, then this one will be not so healthy. So maybe I can put the pizza here, some chips there, put some healthy there, not so healthy there, healthy there, healthy there, not so healthy there. This is a little bit big still, I think. This is a little bit big still, I think. So I might just resize that down a little bit so that it fits a little neater there. So it's possible now for the player to eat healthy, 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 across healthy, healthy, and come into healthy, and therefore they could do the same thing on the not so healthy. Alright, we've now got our game set up. We've got our player where it can move around. If it crashes, it gets sent back. So as I come around, I can now, the problem is when I go to eat things, they don't disappear, but that's okay. That's for the next session.